When you were a kid, a single summer felt like it lasted forever. The school year stretched out like an open road. Now, you blink and another year is gone. The Christmas decorations are barely down before they're back up again. You catch yourself saying things like, I can't believe it's already July. So here's the strange part. The clock hasn't changed. 60 seconds is still 60 seconds. A year is still 365 days. So why does time feel like it's quietly speeding up the older you get? It turns out this isn't your imagination, and it isn't just nostalgia. Scientists, psychologists, and philosophers have been chewing on this question for over a century, and the answers say something genuinely strange about how your brain builds your reality. First, let's be clear. This is a real, documented phenomenon. When researchers ask people of different ages how fast time seems to pass, a consistent pattern shows up. Almost everyone feels the days go by at a normal pace. But ask about longer stretches, like the last 10 years, and older people overwhelmingly say it flew. The feeling is nearly universal. It crosses cultures and countries. So whatever is going on, it's not a personal quirk. It's something about being human. The big question is why? And there isn't just one answer. There are at least four forces working together. Let's take them one at a time. The oldest and most famous explanation is something called the proportional theory. The idea is beautifully simple. We measure time against how much we've already lived. When you're 5 years old, 1 year is a fifth of your entire existence. It's an enormous chunk of everything you've ever known. But when you're 50, that same year is just 1/50th of your life. A thin little sliver. So even though the year is exactly the same length on the calendar, it feels smaller because, relative to your whole life, it is smaller. Some thinkers push this idea to a fascinating conclusion. If we really experience time in proportions, then the stretch from age 5 to 10 might feel about as long as the entire stretch from age 40 all the way to 80. Same number of years on paper, wildly different on the inside. By this logic, you may have already lived through the slowest, richest half of your subjective life by the time you're in your 20s. That sounds almost unbelievable. But sit with it for a second, and it lines up surprisingly well with how those early years actually felt. Now, the proportional theory is elegant, but many scientists think it's incomplete, because it can't be the whole story. And that brings us to reason number 2. Novelty. When you're young, almost everything is new. Your first day of school, your first time at the ocean, your first bee sting, your first heartbreak, your first taste of something strange. Your brain is constantly recording fresh, vivid memories because it's processing a world it's never seen before. But as you get older, life settles into routine. The same drive to work, the same desk, the same weekends, the same meals, the same faces. And here's the crucial part. Your brain doesn't bother storing much detail for things it's already done 1,000 times. It runs on autopilot. This is where it gets fascinating. We judge how long a period was by how many memories we made during it. Think of it like footage on a film reel. A week packed with new experiences lays down tons of distinct memories. So when you look back, it feels long and full because there's so much there. But a week of pure routine leaves almost no memories behind. Your brain compresses it down to almost nothing. So in hindsight, it feels like that week barely happened at all. This is why a single week-long vacation in a new country can feel longer in memory than the 2 months of ordinary life that came after it. More memories equal more felt time, but only when you look back. And once you understand that, you realize something a little unsettling. As an adult, you can lose entire weeks to autopilot without noticing. You wake up, commute, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. And your brain, finding nothing new worth recording, quietly throws most of it away. Multiply that across months and years, and huge stretches of your life essentially evaporate from memory. That's the real engine behind the feeling of asking, where did the year go? It's not that the year went anywhere, it's that you didn't store much of it. Your life kept happening, your memory just didn't keep the receipts. There's a third piece to this puzzle, and it lives in your brain chemistry. Some researchers point to dopamine, a chemical closely tied to novelty and reward. When you're young and constantly encountering new things, your brain releases more of it. There's evidence that higher dopamine activity can make your internal clock tick a little more slowly, stretching moments out. As we age and our days become more predictable, that novelty signal fires less often. There's even a theory that our internal clock gradually slows over a lifetime. So by the time your body counts off what it thinks is an hour, more real time has actually passed. The science is still evolving, but the overall picture points in the same direction. Novelty stretches time, routine shrinks it. And then there's a fourth, quieter factor: attention. Have you noticed time vanishes fastest when you're barely paying attention to it? A day glued to a screen, only half present, slips away almost instantly. As kids, we were fully immersed in nearly everything because every moment demanded it. As adults, we're often somewhere else, thinking about work during dinner, planning tomorrow while living today, half watching our own lives. And time you don't pay attention to is time that doesn't fully register. The less present you are, the faster it all seems to flow. Now stack all four of these forces together, and you finally solve the mystery of childhood summers. Back then, time represented a huge proportion of your life. Every day was packed with new experiences your brain carefully recorded. Your dopamine was fueled by constant novelty, and you were fully present for nearly all of it. Maximum proportion, maximum novelty, maximum attention. It was the perfect recipe for time that seemed to stretch on forever. Those summers weren't actually longer, but in every way your brain measures time, they were. Here's the hopeful part. If routine is what makes time disappear, then novelty is the antidote. You can't slow down the clock on the wall, but you can change how much of your life you actually remember living. Every new experience creates fresh memories, and fresh memories stretch your sense of time back out. The people who say their years feel rich and full aren't living more hours than you, they're living newer ones. So what does that look like in practice? Seek out firsts. Take the route you've never driven. Try the food you can't pronounce. Learn the skill you've been putting off. Break your routines on purpose. Even small changes, like sitting somewhere different or spending your weekend a new way, create fresh memories. Travel whenever you can, even locally. New environments are powerful fuel for your brain. And finally, be present. Put the phone down. Actually notice the moment you're in. You don't need a dramatic life overhaul. You just need to give your brain something worth remembering a little more often than it currently gets. So, no, time isn't really speeding up. The universe isn't cheating you. Your brain is simply running out of new things to notice and quietly deleting the parts of life that look too much like the parts that came before. The solution was never going to be more hours. It's more firsts. So go do something today that your future self will actually remember. Take the long way home. Say yes to the thing. Because in the strangest, most beautiful way, a life full of new moments is a life that feels longer. Thanks for watching. If this made you look at time a little differently, make sure to click the subscribe button.